Hello. So I have just finished off my first Tabaxi life, ran it all the way up to level 32. So I'm going to do a bit of a build breakdown and kind of a thoughts on how this worked out. So this was my first kick at the can with both Tabaxi raced and playing a Dex-based Ranger, which is something I haven't actually done in the past, even though I really like Ranger. I've never run Dex-based before. I always felt it was gimped compared to a strength build. Turns out I was sort of hilariously mistaken. Just doing a quick check here, see if this actually works. Seems maybe no. I think that was gonna work. That work? Oh, that does work. Okay, so that is working. All right, cool. That's my Twitch channel in case you haven't been there, but yeah, feel free to go there and check it out. So what I did, get rid of that. So I will go back to which one of these is DDO? That's DDO. There we go. So I did do a bit more the build. Just as a curiosity. Let's do it all at once. Okay, so that's actually that. So is that going to bring this up? No, that didn't bring that up. I thought that would. That's the launcher. Which I don't care about. Did I close it? All right, well. Anyway, I did go through all the trouble of mapping this out in the DDO builder, but we'll have to live with that from now. I might edit that out later. So yeah, I did the Tabaxi full dex base. So let's have a quick look at my stats right now. This might be a little small on your screen, so I apologize for that. So the base was 12. I have a +8 Supreme Tome that I bought when they were cheap and on sale. So I started with base 12 strength. Max dexterity, so 20, and all level ups into dexterity. Base 16 constitution, base 10 intelligence, base 12 wisdom, and then I straight up dumped charisma because whatever. So that's pretty good. My past lives look like this. So my past lives, I've got 1 ancient power, 3 braze, 3 double shot, 3 double strike, 3 energy criticals. I do have Epic Completionist and Skill Mastery. So those are my Epic past lives. I'm a Completionist. So I have 1 of each life, including 3 Barbarian, 3 Bard, 2 Druid, 3 Favorite Soul, 3 Fighter, 3 Monk, 3 Paladin, 3 Ranger, and I think 1 of everything else. So that's what I got so far. Iconic past lives, I have 3 Aasimar, 3 Purple Dragon Knight, 3 Razor Claw, and 3 Tiefling Scoundrel. And for racial past lives, I've got 3 Drow, 3 Dwarf, 3 Gnome, 3 Warforged, and this will be my first Tabaxi. So, there you go. And I do have, I believe, 1 or 2 inherent tomes for that. Show up special feats. So yeah, inherent charisma, inherent magical resistance. So I've got these are the ones that you buy for remnants. So I've got 2 resistance, 2 melee power, 2 physical resistance, inherent racial action point. I've got 2, so in 2 inherent racial action points. There you go. An inherent range power, inherent spell power, inherent strength and wisdom. So that's all of those. And I believe, and that's my Purple Reaper eyes, which is not much of a flex since everybody and their dog's got wings these days, but meh. All right, so how did this break down? Well, truth is, it turned out that it was hilariously good. My standing AC in town right now is 139 with max 27% dodge. I think 28 might be the max without bypasses and what have you. So hilariously good. It's 10 shield bonus, 13 natural armor, 9 deflection, 30 miscellaneous, whatever that is, 18 feet bonus, and then obviously the armor bonus or whatever. So this is the highest AC I have ever had on a non-tank, non-shield build. That's just out of control. 139 is ridiculous, and also somewhere, I'm not sure where it's showing me my Incorp defenses. Avoidance defenses. Here we go. So I've got 15% incorporeality, 20% concealment, which is pretty rad. Both of these could be higher if I had a few more points to stick into whatever. It says dodge is 29% and bonus to max dodge is 0. So I'm not sure why this is showing me 27% dodge, because it will say that it's capped if it's not. For some reason it isn't. Is what it is. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over 1% or 2%. That's not a big deal. As for my other feats, breakdown works something like this. Starts off with, where is that? Weapon finesse. Okay. And it seems like a strange thing. People are like, well, why would you do that if you can get it out of Tabaxi? Because weapon finesse will allow me to use rapier earlier, and I don't have to buy it in the Tabaxi tree. So this unlocks rapier faster than if I'd done it. I mean, it was a free thing. You could actually completely ignore this and choose another first level feat, but I took it at level 1. So I had weapon finesse so that I could use any light weapon and rapiers with my dexterity bonus without having to futz about with different enhancements, which can be a pain sometimes and painful. Next up, I took precision because precision is awesome. 5% to hit and 25% fort bypass. It is on all the time without exception. And then I believe the next feats I took were, let's see. Why are they not showing? They're probably in defensive feats. Yeah. Dodge, 3% dodge bonus. Mobility, 2% dodge and +4 to armor class while tumbling. And it includes increase the maximum dexterity bonus permitted by armor and tower shields by 2. So that's adding additional cap to my dexterity, because you will get a lot of dexterity with this build. Combat styles, you get all the 2-weapon fighting feats for free as a ranger, so I didn't have to worry about those. So dodge and mobility, and then eventually I would take spring attack for the last one, because this is your first off, it allows you to close with mobs quickly, which is more of a bonus than you might realize, but it also is an abundant step that allows you to jump over gaps and what have you. So that's very handy to have. And then lastly, as my last heroic feat, I took Empower Healing Spell, because certain spells like Rejuvenation Cocoon and I believe, what do we call this thing again? Renewal? Yeah, Renewal. It does not, repeat, does not take Empower or Maximize or any of those things, so it has to be Empower Healing Spell. So that was what I took for that. Let's go back to that quickly again. So range feats, again, you get these all for free as a ranger. I just have mine set permanently to precise shot. I mean, I'm never using it, so who cares? But that's all. Now, what really is a little bit different what I did this time, I sort of stole this idea from Carpone's thing, was the favorite enemies. And mine worked a little bit different, because what I did is I completely skipped taking undead and animal, because I pulled these out of the enhancement trees. So I actually started with vermin, monstrous humanoid, giant, evil outsider, and the last one I took was elemental. Personal preference, you could swap that elemental for construct, or you could swap it for fey, or you could swap it for whatever it is you think would be fighting the most. Aberration's another good one. Again, dealer's choice. Perfectly honest. Again, you can make the same argument for monstrous humanoid. You do fight a lot of monstrous humanoids though, and a lot of things that I didn't consider to be monstrous humanoids actually were. Werewolves are monstrous humanoids, Sawagan are monstrous humanoids, werewolves are monstrous humanoids, harpies are monstrous humanoids, and there was all the wild men are monstrous humanoids, and so on. So there's quite a few of them. Minotaurs, all minotaurs are monstrous humanoids, and so on. So it's a pretty good argument for that. Again, you can make a pretty good argument for goblinoid too, since there's so many goblins and hobgoblins and bugbears in the game. So again, dealer's choice, has a lot of flexibility, but I found that this covers a lot of ground. Good argument for Magical Beast. Magical Beast was another one that I had that was also very good, because of all kinds of things, like everything from griffins to wargs is magical beasts. Anything that's not like a natural animal is going to be qualified as a magical beast. So that's something that's worth considering. So that was pretty rad. So that's how that bit broke down basically. And what I did for my enhancements, and I was hoping this would be a little bit clearer, so it's little hard to see, so I apologize for that. No, that's actually my Epic Destinies. Let's see, it was this one. There we go. So it is, this is actually, should probably bring these over. See, it's not going to drag these over. No? No, I'm not going to do that for me. All right. So it's not going to do that. Anyway, so out of falconry, I just took the white falcon. Just because reasons, that's +2 spot and listen, why not? And then, favorite enemy animal, because there's so many animals. All dinosaurs count as animals, which makes sense because, you know, they're animals. They actually existed in the really real world, so they're animals. And then out of the Vistani tree, I took +1 hit and damage with daggers, throwing knives, obviously first core, and then I take Undead Hunter. So 1 AP to get undead, favorite enemy undead is fantastic. So grand total spent 2 AP because I had a universal point to spend. So 1, 2, 3 points gets me 2 favorite enemies. Worth it, in my opinion. And then the rest of this is pretty straightforward. I wanted to fool around with the Tabaxi tree a little bit. So what I did is I took the first 4 cores out of Deepwood Stalker. So that's getting me Far Shot, Sneak Attack, Dice, Positive Healing, Sneak Attack, Positive Healing, Exposing Strike. This is a crucial ability. This one is the one that turns things around and gives you plus crit range, and they're now bluffed so that you can get sneak attacks on them. And this is giving you your sneak attack and competence to critical threat range. Okay, so, and again, positive 10 spell power and bypass of 10% fortification. So that's rad. So these are, you want these. So you're going to spend at least 21 points in this tree to get here. And then what did I take? I took 2 favored defense. I took all of increased empathy to get up to here to take empathic healing. There we go, because you get a lot of use out of this. You can empower and maximize that. So that's very good. So I empowered and intensified that later. And then I took this. This is improved weapon finesse. Now dexterity modifier for damage with wielding thrown weapons, and melee weapons with which you can use your dexterity modifier to hit. So again, that is now, if you're using thrown weapons, you can now use the thrown weapons with your full dexterity modifier. I'm probably just going to use bows anyway, but it's there if you want it. And then what did I take? I took Survivalist 1, 10 hit points, 3 physical resistance rating, additional 20 hit points, and 4 resistance rating, and then finally all the way up to, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. I did take favorite hunter +3 to hit and damage on attacking a favorite enemy. And then killer, which is when you kill a target, you gain a 5% morale bonus to melee double strike and extra shot chance for 15 seconds. Enemies, we can only use an all resistance effect. So basically, as long as you're killing stuff with a higher CR than your level, you're fine. And if you're running elite or Reaper all the time, that won't be an issue. So that was how that all played out. So that's a grand total of 24 points in that tree. And then 42 points in Tempest. So all 6 cores, Tempest, Shield of Steel, Deflect Arrows, Whirlwind, Dervish. So obviously all these are great. +3 reflex saves and saves against traps. That's fantastic because you're going to spend a lot of time just running through traps because you can't disarm them. Improved defense, always. Improved parry, always. All the 2-weapon fighting things. Then we take +3 to confirm critical hits. So this is basically +3 stacking Seeker. Growing Storm. This is fantastic. You hit down to death, and then you immediately follow with the Growing Storm. You get the 10 stacks in a heartbeat. So that's +10 damage rolling all the time, which immediately goes up to many cuts. Now you can. There's another one, I think 1000 cuts, where it's a clicky. It is more melee power and double strike. However, it only has like, I think at best like a 20% uptime. Like it's a very long. Very short uptime and a very long downtime, so I just prefer to have +4 melee power, +4 melee double strike all the time. Your mileage may vary. Dual Perfection, your offhand weapon adds your full attribute bonus damage modifier, so you actually don't get full bonus modifier, as it says here. For instance, if you have 30 strength, you'll gain +10 damage with your offhand, like your main hand weapon. Usually you only get half. Whirling Blades, +3 in hit and damage with dual wielding, and of course Dance to Death, always, because you want that area of effect. They nerfed it a little bit because it used to be 300% strike through. However, you do not have to hit a target with anymore. You can just hit Dance to Death and it immediately goes off. So that's important. So you're hitting one less thing, but you don't have to actually strike a target for it to function anymore. So that's how, and of course, Beast Boost, the best action boost in the game. Always. You can also get this, you can pull this out of Vistani if you wanted, but realistically you had to get here anyway. You had to get the 40 points somehow, so might as well buy it here. And then I saved a few points. Again, if you've got more racial action points, then you don't have to spend if you have less points, then don't spend them in the Tabaxi tree. If you have more points, then feel free to do that and then take additional stuff, survivalist, and then through all the hunt and some other stuff. That's really rad. Or you can work your way up through here and get the improved dodge and the improved mobility. Some people like elaborate parry. I don't bother with it. I mean, you're spending a lot of points, and it's all you're doing is with elaborate parry is buying your way up to evasive dance, and that's expensive. And I'll tell you why I didn't do that. So anyway, out of the Tabaxi tree, I took the first 3 cores. Nimble Cat 2, maximum dexterity bonus in light armor, plus 1% dodge, plus 1 dexterity, plus 1 dodge, maximum dexterity bonus in light. You gain dexterity to hit with dagger, hand axe, basically all light weapons, and rapier. So then I took 1 sharp claws for 1 attack. I took cat scratch just because early game I didn't have any AoE. Land on your feet. This sounds like nothing, but it's actually awesome that you never take falling damage. So you can just jump off of whatever you want. You'd be surprised how many quests get a lot faster when you just don't have to worry about feather fall ever. Plus 1 sneak attack dice. High places. This is another interesting one. Falling for at least 1.5 seconds. When you land, you gain plus 2 critical hit confirmation, plus 2 critical hit damage, and plus 25% armor piercing. That is a big deal. I wasn't actually able to make that work because unless you jump from a really high place, or if you have feather fall on all the time, it doesn't go off. And as most people will tell you, having feather fall on all the time is super annoying. But that being said, if you can jump off any kind of box, like the standard box, if you just jump with max jump off a box and then feather fall to the ground, that is enough to get you high places. And that is a nice little boost. I've run into a few boss things where I managed to jump in and had that, and it lasts for 20 seconds, which is a fairly good action boost. And that does matter. It stacks, so it's kind of neat. Hunt down your scratch now hamstring opponent for 3 seconds. I found that I didn't get a lot of use out of this, but I had to take something to get up to the next tier. Sharp Claws 2, plus 3 to damage. Awesome, and it's not tied to Sharp Claws 1, so you can just go ahead. So that's just stacking plus 3 damage. Awesome. Focused agility. Your feline agility now requires you only stand still for 3 seconds and lasts for 9 seconds. Again, this is something, anytime you go through a load screen, or even if you're just standing still fighting mobs, this procs focused agility all the time. Another sneak attack dice, so that's really rad. And then finally you get fast sprinter. Feline agility now has a 30% action boost to movement speed and lasts for 18 seconds. So basically anytime you're going through a load screen or anytime you stand still for a couple of seconds, like opening a door, if you just count 1 extra steamboat after opening a door, that's enough to get you feline agility. And it lasts for 18 seconds, so it's quite valuable. I didn't actually bother with these other ones. Feline versatility and deep scratches would have been neat, but they weren't going to get me a lot for this particular build, so I took 9 lives. Again, the rogue's defensive roll feat, you below 20% hit points, there's a chance equal to your reflex save that attacks do half damage and have their effects negated. This has probably saved my life more often in these runs because my reflex save standing right now is plus 85, and it's even more if I go into Reaper. And it's even more if I use heroism. So it's basically like a 90% chance that nothing happens. I have to roll a 1 or a 2 for it to not happen. So that's amazing. And then of course the fast sprinters. So that was how I spelled this out. So this is actually quite a good tree, and there's interesting stuff that I'm going to try for the next life. So what did I use for my gear? Well, I'm at the end game. Up until level 3, basically whatever I could find doesn't really matter. The only thing is at level 2 I did use the Nyx scimitar out of the Sharn chain. That was the one weapon. I don't have it in my inventory right now, but that's what I used. And then I used Saltmarsh gear at 3, and then swapped that in with bits and pieces of Feywild at level 5, Barovian gear at level 10, and then I used the part of the family set at level 15, and I used that until basically until level 20 odd or so, when I started swapping to the epic Saltmarsh Explorer set, which still used the heroic part of the family, and then the epic Saltmarsh Explorer, which filled in the gaps. And now at endgame, finally, I am using Keslin's Most Prescient Lens, still using the heroic Crown of Butterflies, because nothing replaces the plus 15 enhancement bonus to positive healing amp, and the plus 10 stacking melee power and range power, plus the Fascinate Guard. So that's just, you can't replace that really anywhere. It's mostly the Fascinate Guard and the enhancement bonus to healing amplification. You can get melee power, which I slotted onto this, but again, there's not much point in taking it off. And the irony is that the legendary one is practically the same. It's still the same Crown of Summer, Winged Allure, more enchantment focus, and more magical sheltering, but that's about it. So why bother? Because you'll get that stuff elsewhere anyway. Legendary Dawn's Herald Charm. This is doing nothing for me except it's got a slot for Wizardry and Wisdom 13. Here's a blast from the past. This is the Epic Eagle's Eye. This comes out of Subversion from the Devil's Gambit chain in the 12, and people used to run that constantly. I used to run it all the time back in the day to when I was grinding epic levels. So you can actually run through that quest pretty quickly, especially on normal. It's very fast, and if sooner or later you're going to run into this, and this is the Epic Eagle's Eye, plus 20 spot, plus 20 search, Seeker 14. Legendary raid gear is the only place you can get Seeker 14, and this is on a level 28 piece of gear. So I took it. So that's meshes very well, and I slotted it with a Topaz of Damage 10, and then a Diamond of Constitution 9, because I simply couldn't find another place to put Constitution on this build. Legendary Shadow Hail Cloak. I farmed it out specifically for this life, so that's Hide and Move Silently 20, Deception 10, Ghostly, and a Mythic Close Boost, and it's got a Sapphire False Life 42 in it. Legendary Braided Cut Cord, Quality Dodge 3, which stacks Blurry, Dexterity 13, which is moot because I already have, but Quality Dexterity 3, which does stack a Mythic Boost, and a Sapphire Protection 9. Legendary Death Warden, that's Death Block Healing, lower 21%, efficient Meta Magic and Power Healing, so that reduces the cost because I always have Empower Healing on. Exceptional Devotion, plus 10 Devotion, bonus to positive spell power. Didn't slot that with anything because I couldn't think of anything interesting. So that helps my healing a bit. Still using the Heroic Hammer Fist because nothing replaces the Combat Infusion or the Insightful Double Strike. Now, had I been more fortunate, I would have probably swapped this off for a Legendary Hammer Fist, but I just never pulled one. I do have a Legendary Knife Palm, which would allow me to swap this back out and get my Relentless Fury back, but meh. At this point, it didn't matter that much. So Legendary Flightfoot Greaves, these are awesome. Freedom of Movement, Speed 30, Natural Armor 13, Reflex 10, which is moot because I've got an item that's giving that Mythic Boost 1, because this has got Sapphire Resistance 10 in it. Legendary Ring of Nightfall, Insightful Intelligence, Insightful Deadly, which is great. That does stack. Physical Sheltering doesn't matter. Reflex again doesn't matter. But the Topaz is Swiftness 15, which I slotted in this because at the time I didn't have my Flightfoot Greaves. I found those on this run, so that's what I did with those. Legendary Braces of the Fallen Hero, Strength 13, Insightful Constitution 6, Stunning 15 means nothing. Quality Physical Sheltering does mean something. That stacks. And Mythic Wrist Boost, and I put a Sapphire Good Luck in there for chuckles. And finally, the Legendary Mislaid Investment. So that's Fortification 142, Parrying 6, Physical Sheltering 33, and Profane Well-Rounded with the slot in it. So so as of right now, I have a Silent Avenger and an Adherent of the Mists set working. In case you're wondering, that is 15 artifact bonus to Double Strike and Double Shot, 3 sneak attack dice, 25 artifact bonus to Fortification Bypass, plus 10% artifact bonus to damage versus helpless. And then Adherence gives me plus 30 Profane bonus to physical resistance rating. So that's stacking. Profane bonus to positive, negative repair amplification against stacking, plus 15 Profane bonus to melee and range power against stacking, and a Profane bonus to universal spell power. So all of that stacks because those are Profane bonuses, and these are all artifact bonuses. So all of those stack. All right. So things you might want to know before you try this. Number one is that if you're going to run a Dex-based Tempest, that your go-to weapon is going to be a Scimitar. And if you're going to use scimitars, then you're going to need certain things. Also, running through most of my epic, I used, let's see how much, where did I put it? If it's still on my hotbar here. There's a few of these, but I had a Balazar that I used, and I used it mostly with my drow weapon. But here's a couple of things you're going to want to look for along the way if you can find them. Bronze X Cruelty and Epic Cruel Nobility. Both of these are the Epic Cruel Nobility you can probably find super easily. It's out of the Web of Chaos chain. Most people call it Lords of Dust chain. And it does drop in Lords of Dust. The difference between the Epic and the Heroic is nominal, but it is a very good weapon. So I started with Ruby Acid. That was great. And then Epic Bronze X Cruelty, arguably the best at-level scimitar in the game. So that is Shocking Blast, Lightning Strike, Maiming, Keen, and Improved Destruction with 2 slots. Awesome. Problem is that particular one, it's not super rad because you have to go and farm it out of Big Top, and it only drops in the blue Abishai chest, which is an optional rare encounter. And even if he does spawn, there's no guarantee that the weapon actually drops in the chest. But if you can do it, so it's right at the gate, right before you actually go up to the end fight where the 3 outhouses are. If you go around the back through the bushes, there's a path around the back, and that's where he is. If you can get it, it's fantastic. So that is very good. Also, I don't know if I still have them in my inventory. It looks like I pulled them out. Mirage out of the Sands of Nectarine. I might put that up as a pop-up just so you can see it. The Mirage, which is drops in Utach Sandcrawl's chest around the back by the Volcurum Crash. That is arguably the best at level, the second best, if not the best, scimitar in the game. So you can get 2 of those, and they'll give you 1 lasher set as well. And you can buy it from the bronze token trader. I forget his name. Masai. There you go. Masai in the Zawabi's Refuge for 625 tokens or something like that. Amazing. It's got an extended crit range. It makes a fantastic weapon. It's also Deception and Seeker, so it's a very good item. And very cheap to make epic. So get a couple of those. And then I, of course, had Barovian scimitars. I mean, it's a standby, right? Everybody's got Barovian weapons. And then I was using my Balazard for a while. And then my Morning Lord's Scepter. Right now, I have a Magmatic Reaper that I got out of Dryad the Demigod, just because why not? Looks cool, so might as well use it. But, so that's what that looks like. Not a very good look, but anyway, so that's what I use for that. So yeah, and just for a bow, I have my old pinion that I pulled out. And then I have an epic Bow of the Elements, because again, this is a pretty rad thing. Just fun to have. You probably a Thornlord's probably better, but meh. And that's about it. That's the real excitement of it. Let's see if I still have my items still in here, or if I put them all in the bank. So I do have like an epic Bloodstone. And you can probably see that I still have the Epic Ethereal Ring. These are all Saltmarsh items. So now I must have put them all back in the bank. Past me was being very efficient with his inventory space. So that's how that worked. And so my take on it is, if Dex-based Ranger isn't better than Strength-based Ranger, it's really doing a good imitation. It is, from what I've seen, I don't know if I don't prefer it. The downside is, of course, that a lot of the sexiest weapons are heavy weapons, so longswords and Kopesh and what have you. But there are still plenty of sexy light weapons you can get, and there's a few more even out of Isle of Dread here, so you can find them, you can get them. They're not really hard to come by, with the exception of Bronze X Cruelty, which can be a pain to farm out. But having said that, I did not notice a significant drop off in DPS. It was a lot of damage, a lot of stuff just melted, especially as soon as I hit 21. and had epic defensive fighting, which I've always got permanently on for the record. It turned out really great. The avoidance defenses were super high, AC super high, reflex save ridiculous. I only failed saves on a 1. So it was really rad. Now what I did for my epic destinies, which I don't know that I went over, basically everything out of Fury of the Wild, I toyed with the idea of using Cutter or Quick. It just isn't as good. It's just straight up not as good as Adrenaline. Just isn't. Just make peace with the fact that just Adrenaline is just the better DPS option. Just straight up. Acute Senses, because it's +6 fortitude and +6 save straight up and your dodge is increased by 1. I'll take it. I didn't take this until level 32, which is an additional point of trip. So Mantle of Fury, this one is fantastic in passive healing. Primal Scream, great. Just additional morale bonus to strength, dexterity, and con for 5 minutes. Furious, damage bonus increased to Adrenaline. Embrace the Pain 1 point because I need to get up to the next tier. +3% double strike. Top Dog took that at level 32 because I had nothing else to spend it on. Wade Through double strike, 6% double strike. Overwhelming Force, Adrenaline is another, so that's 150% damage now with Adrenaline. And this one is fantastic. Unquenchable Rage. Reduce all damage except untyped by 15% for 5 seconds after you consume a rage charge or use Primal Scream. So you may apply the effects of the heal to yourself as scales with melee power. So basically every time you hit Primal Scream, it's giving you a 15% damage reduction and it's giving you a full heal, scaling off your melee power, which is awesome. And finally I took Nature's Fury because you always want more crit multiplier. I took the Great Leveler because I just wanted to play around with it. Unbridled Fury is fantastic. If you want to watch stuff disappear, this is the fastest way to make that happen. And for 30 and 31, I took Scarred by Chaos and Lore of the Wilds. For this, I do have the Harbinger of Chaos feat. Forget where I took that, level 31 maybe. So for my, if I go back and look at my epic feats here. Yeah, so I took Blinding Speed, Damage Reduction, Intensified, help my heals a little bit, Overwhelming Critical. And somewhere in here should be, yeah, there we go. Double Strike, First Blood, Harbinger of Chaos, perfect to weapon fighting. Pretty standard stuff. Blinding Speed simply because this is giving me better reflex saves and a little bit more dodge, so I'll take it. But yeah, nothing terribly creative happening here. This is giving me 10% primal bonus to maximum hit points, and this is giving me 100 hit points and 20 physical resistance rating because I have Scarred by Chaos or Harbinger of Chaos. So there you go. Unyielding Sentinel, just 8 points because I want the first 2 cores. Die Hard feat, which I already had, but it's moot. Ward Against Curses again. That's not as interesting as the 10% less evil damage. Divine Energy Resistance is fantastic. Arguably, you could skip this, but I got to spend the points somewhere. And then Brace for Impact, plus 50% fortification and +1 to all saves. I will take as much fortification as you can lay on me. Currently, my fortification is 208. And then finally, Renewal. This is what I consider the better option for than Rejuvenation Cocoon. I know Rejuvenation Cocoon is like an absolute better heal, like straight up, but the tree itself is giving me more than Primal Avatar does. So I will take this that I'm getting out of here, which is also giving me plus 35 hit points and 20 spell points and 5 melee power for each core. So that's like 70 additional spell points and 10 more melee power and 40 more spell points. I will take that all day, every day over whatever I was getting out of the Primal Avatar tree for a melee build. And that's my ongoing heals, which can be empowered, quickened, and enlarged. It can be intensified. I did not take Quicken, and you think, why didn't you take Quicken? Well, the truth of the matter is none of these heals are big enough or fast enough to proc in combat anyway. If I get in trouble, then I'm going to hit my Primal Scream to get my heal off. And then the other ones I'll have to run around in circles and do anyway, so there's not really much point in me taking Quicken. So I didn't bother with it. And my concentration's pretty good, so I'm okay with it. And then lastly, 13 points in Shadow Dancer. So I got first core. This gives me Dimension Door. That's awesome. And then this one And this is why I didn't take elaborate parry in the enhancement trees, is because this is giving me improved evasion. So I can get, if I can get improved evasion here, why would I bother with it? So now I've got improved evasion. Cool. +2 to reflex saves, fight and move silently. Again, I had to spend the points somewhere. Cover of darkness, 3 points in this because it gives me permanent night shield. So once you have permanent night shield, you can forget about it forever. Then I went up here and got +6 reflex saving throws, armor class, and light armor max dex bonus, +5 force and universal spell power in lithe. And that is a big deal. That unlocks a lot of your dexterity for defense. And then finally up here, I just took 5% double strike and double shot from Shadow Striker, and I am immune to energy drain. That's key. So at the end of the game, I'm immune to energy drain. I can take negative energy damage, but I am death blocked, and I'm reducing that damage. So really, unless you just want to negate it entirely, you don't even need Death Ward. So that was pretty rad. Anyway, it's raining on my parade right now, so that's about it. Again, this is kind of a rambling diatribe. Hopefully, I'll be able to edit it down a little bit for content, and I'll add some images here if I remember to do so. But that's about it. I liked it. It was a good time. I would absolutely recommend it. If the fates are kind, I will post this to the forums. I did do a DDO builder build of it, so I can post that as well. But that's about it. So Tabaxi Tempest with dex base, would recommend, and looking forward to seeing what else I can come up with for this race. But until then, I am done for right now. I hope to see you again. Again, my streams are 0930 hours Monday to Friday Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you there, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you again soon.